America's workforce. Its strength is our nation's success. Join Ronnie Spellman on I Build America podcast as we explore innovative solutions and inspiring stories from leaders and workers shaping America. Discover actionable insights to build a motivated workforce.
And welcome to the I Build America podcast. We're here with the delightful guest, Valde Garcia.
Correct.
And you are a retired U.S. Army.
Yeah, U.S. Army. Yep, served in the Army.
As a retired colonel.
That's correct.
You are a former member of the Michigan House of Representatives.
Yes.
And a former state senator.
Correct.
And your list is so long. I'm amazed at what you've done and your contributions, but you also created the Michigan Defense Center when you were in the legislature.
Right.
And served, today you currently serve as president of the National Defense Industrial Association for Michigan.
Yes. I hate being bored, so I have to do something.
You've done a lot. Were you born and raised here in Michigan?
I was born and raised in Michigan, yes.
Okay. So we're back in Michigan for those of you who are listening to the program. And Michigan is doing so many wonderful things in terms of their growth and their evolution and their diversification. They've been working on that for decades now. So you have the automotive, the aerospace, the defense industry, but they've become big in technology, one of the largest states with engineers in it across the country, one of the top 10 economies, over 10 million people living in the state. It's just it's an amazing place. Now, one of your good friends, who is a state senator, Michael, says that the aerospace industry should be launching spaceships from Michigan as well.
Well, we should be doing everything we can to enhance and support the aerospace and defense industry. So I agree with him on that. Launching into space, that's another area I'm sure we'd be happy to talk about.
Yeah, but he often talks about the shoreline. And I don't know if you can give us the stats on it. And I saw a sign recently when I arrived here that spoke about the shoreline. Michigan is truly surrounded by water. People might think of Florida and some other parts of the country, but you have a lot of water around the state as well.
We have a large bodies of water all around the state. We have a lot of lakes inside the state. And I'm told we also have the largest number of golf courses now. I can't verify that.
Now, someone told me that earlier. I think over 608 is, I believe, what was quoted.
Something like that. Although I cannot play well at any of them, I can say that.
Well, describe to us the state and just your perspective. You've done, again, so much here in the state as a legislator, as a leader, a community leader, a business leader. You've just been so involved with so many different parts of the economy here in the state.
Well, I mean, to me, it's all about giving back. We're here to serve others, and I'm a big believer in Michigan. Born and raised here. It's, my home. I left to go to college and to the Army, but I came back here to raise my family, and it's a great place to live and work. I mean, the auto industry, we've helped move the world with the auto industry. Yeah. We have the second largest industry is agriculture and tourism, and I think the third largest, is the defense and aerospace industry. $4 billion worth of economic activity, 4,000.
$4 billion?
$4 billion,
Incredible.
Yes. No, I'm sorry. 30 billion. 30 billion, it's 4,000 companies that work in defense and aerospace.
That's incredible. Now, can you tell us a little of the history of Michigan relative to the defense industry? Most people might not recognize that the Ford Motor Company was one of the first to fly commercial airplanes in the U.S. They were transporting mail for the U.S. government. And then Boeing came along and changed that dynamic, but they were building airplanes back in the earlier wars. So much happened here in Michigan.
Absolutely. In fact, we are known as the Arsenal of Democracy. For World War II, we provided jeeps, trucks, airplanes, you name it. Anything the soldier needed, if the Navy needed it, if the Air Corps needed it, we provided it here. We built it here in Michigan.
That's incredible. And you have a large number of Fortune 500 companies here and just a lot of energy that's happening around the state and industries that are happening around the state.
Yep. People think about Michigan, they think about Detroit, and over the years, it developed a bad reputation. But in reality, Detroit has come back. There are some great things that are going on in Detroit right now. The state has come back. We've recovered from the Great Recession. We're building autos. We're doing a lot of really great things, and it's really now should be known as the Arsenal of Innovation, because there's, as you mentioned earlier, a lot of engineers here, some of the largest number of engineers here concentrated in one area. So there are a great number of things that are happening here.
Right, it's amazing. I haven't yet spent a lot of time in Detroit proper, in the city.
It's a beautiful
but
city.
Is it?
Yeah.
I remember being in Southern California when I lived there, and hearing about the migration of engineers from Southern California to Detroit. And someone described that, no, it's becoming a tech hub. This is, 15 plus years ago. And I was amazed that they were taking old buildings and renovating them and creating these really neat tech hubs and business offices in Detroit.
You should go downtown Detroit and see the changes that have occurred in the last 10, 12, 15 years. I was just downtown Detroit yesterday watching the Grand Prix race. A lot of activity, a lot of energy, a lot of folks just having a good time. Last year we had the NFL draft there as well.
Yes.
I think someone said 900,000 people went through the city streets. Not an incident. Very safe, very clean, and it's just an exciting place to be.
Right. Now, and I know Michigan is broken up in so many parts. I keep reading stories about the upper Michigan area. I forget what they call it. Yes, the UP.
Yep.
What is that like for those that aren't from the state?
Well, it's a beautiful part of the country. Lots of woods, very, I don't mean this in a bad way, but kind of things are slower.
Yes.
They're more down to earth. If you want to go hunting, fishing, skiing, water skiing even, if you want the great outdoors, Michigan, the northern part of Michigan, is a great place to be.
Yes. Now, there are a lot of skills traits. I think I was looking at some of the numbers last night before coming in, and one of the numbers that I saw that sets Michigan apart, with 250,000 workers in the skilled trades, Michigan's skilled trades workforce ranks in the top 10 nationally. And I've worked in the workforce development as a volunteer and board member for some years. And the vast majority of people do not go to a traditional college. They go straight into working in those trade areas. And so they see that Michigan's at the top for those. And those are great positions. Diesel mechanic making over 100,000. I was with the group not long ago that spoke about the need for fiber optics mechanics. And what that industry, that they're paying as much as $90 an hour for some of those people. It's just, so for you to be at the top of that list in skilled trades is incredible.
So what people don't understand is Michigan is a land of great opportunity. Yes, we have some of the top universities and colleges in the nation, but we also have a great skilled workforce. And as that group of folks ages, we need to bring a younger generation along to replace them, to, all those plumbers, those electricians, those mechanics, all the salt of the earth people that get things done. We need more of those folks. And again, as you said, not everybody goes to college, and that's okay.
Yes.
There are people that they're skilled with their hands, with their minds. They have all kinds of skill sets, and we need every last one of them.
And I'm glad that you said it's okay. I think for some people, they might not go to college and think that they've become a failure, and that is not the case.
No.
Yet if you look at a lot of the plumbing companies, the owners, they aren't college graduates. The hotel industry, I've been spending a long time with the hotel industry. A lot of them come out of high school, work at hotels, become a general manager, making a six-figure income. And you call them salt of the earth. And I appreciate that so much, because they are. Like, I look at the people that really make the country run, those skilled trades, they make it run.
They do.
The truck drivers and the mechanics and the construction teams, and it's just an amazing workforce.
Somebody's got to build America. Somebody's got to build those roads. Somebody's got to build those apartment complexes or those houses, and somebody's got to maintain them. And you need people like that who are smart in those skilled trades to be able to do that. I can do any of that, and I have a college education. But thankfully, we have people who know how to do that, and those are good paying jobs that everyone should take a look at. I've talked to some parents who said, well, I want better for my son or daughter. Well, those skilled trades pay very, very well.
They do.
And they provide a good life for people.
They do, and they still lead to business ownership opportunities.
Yes, they do.
So you can't look at it from a financial standpoint per se, because they can likely do better than both you and I combined, right? Just in building that expertise that they have, and it's working on a car as a mechanic is not an easy process. I was speaking to an HR person in recruiting, and they mentioned a company called Peterbilt. And they described a scenario of watching this young person who graduated high school, went into a diesel mechanic program, and within 6 years was making close to about $200,000 a year. 6 years out of high school.
Wow, that's incredible.
Right? In their mid-20s, making nearly $200,000 a year. Amazing.
That is amazing. Yeah. I mean, think about the fact that you can raise a family on that kind of income. You can make sure you can set aside for college.
Right.
You can pay for things without going into debt. There's all kinds of great opportunities that come out of folks who develop those skilled trades.
Right. So if you had to lay out a globe for what you want Michigan to look like in a few years, what would that look like? And again, this is unique for me. You know, you come from probably a worldwide experience, having served in the military. You come back to your home state, and then you work in the highest level you can work as a legislator in Michigan. So you probably have a really unique perspective on what you think, where you think Michigan is headed and what it should look like in a few years.
Well, I guess unique is one way of putting it. I have a perspective. I have a perspective because I have seen different parts of the world, and I have two goals in my life as an adult that I've focused on. One is the national security of the United States, because without security, without freedom, we can't enjoy all these great things that are given to us. And then the other thing is I want Michigan to be doing very well economically. So the national security of our nation, the economic well-being of Michigan, I think are my two broad strategic goals in life. And what I'd like to see is Michigan diversify their auto industry and work in the defense and aerospace area, because, again, you talk about the skilled trades. In the defense and aerospace, they have really good paying jobs with engineers, and you get to work on a lot of good things. People said, I can't serve in the military, or I never got a chance to. Well, you can serve your nation some other way.
Right.
As an engineer, as a product manager for some of these things, that equipment that we provide the soldier or the Air Force or even Space Force. There's a ton of opportunities for people in Michigan. So I'd like to see Michigan grow even more than we have in the last few years in the defense and aerospace sector.
Okay. What would that look like in the defense and aerospace sector? Like, what kinds of companies and people would you continue to attract here? It's
you want to go where the future is, and you want to go AI. You want to go engineering, whether it's ground vehicle or aerospace or space.
Right.
The president is talking about the Golden Dome. Well, there's a lot of pieces that go into that, and Michigan has a lot of bright engineers. We can provide some of that expertise to build the Golden Dome to help make our country safer and stronger. So the kinds of companies we want to see here are innovative companies that take the lead in figuring out problem solving for some of our nation's toughest problems.
That's amazing. And if you were speaking to people who hadn't lived in Michigan that are thinking about where to go next, in their careers in geography, what would you say to them about Michigan? Like, how would you convince that, let's say they're 25-year-old, finished college, and they have a great start to their career in their first job, and they're looking for what fulfills them next? What would you say to that?
So I would ask them first a question. Do you love sports? If you love sports, the Tigers are doing well, the Pistons are doing well, the Red Wings are doing well.
Those Lions.
And the Lions are doing really well.
That's right.
So if you love sports, first of all, come to Michigan for that. Second, there are great opportunities here. There is potential job growth because our nation needs a lot of problems solved in the aerospace and defense sector, and even in automotive and all kinds of engineering. We do not want to lose our leadership as the technology nation of the world.
Okay.
China is coming up fast,
right.
And some would say that in some areas they have exceeded our ability. Well, the only way that we can stay safe and strong and ahead of the curve is to help grow these engineers, these I'm not sure if it's AI scientists or what, AI experts that are going to lead us into the next 20, 30 years. We need those kind of folks. So if you're looking for that kind of a challenge or opportunity, come to Michigan, and we can provide them for you.
I love it. So hopefully they're out there listening. So you're president of National Defense, right, Industrial Association of Michigan. And so what's the general premise of the association?
So our job is to connect government with industry and academia, because what we want to do is provide the warfighter, that soldier, that airman, that Marine, even the man or woman who's working in space. We want to provide them the equipment, the tools, the systems that they can use to do their job effectively and come home safely to their friends and family. That's what we do.
And it's fascinating for me because I've lived across the country and met with a lot of people from a lot of different industries. And in my short time in Michigan, I don't know if I've heard a group of people in a specific area speak so much about collaboration.
Yes.
And what you just described was the same thing. Everyone in Michigan talks about collaboration, which tells me that you live it, you breathe it, you understand it. So earlier I was having a conversation with someone here, and he was a competitor of these other companies, and they're talking about collaborating, and it was refreshing to hear.
Yes, because at the end of the day, we're all on the same side. We want the best possible tools and equipment for our soldiers, airmen, and Marines. But the thing about it is sometimes you have to work together, because together you're stronger than any one individual.
Right.
So we have NDIA, we have the Association of the United States Army, we have the Air and Space Force Association, we have Women in Defense. We all collaborate because we're passionate about supporting our country and our defense. And we know we have particular interests in our particular organizations, but together we're a stronger voice to our elected officials, because ultimately they are the ones who direct the dollars to go where they need to.
Right.
And we have great things going on here in Michigan,
right.
but you can only push that if you're working together,
right.
As opposed to apart.
Yeah, and that's really neat, because I think you're right, especially when we look at politics, whether by state or at the federal level, is that in the end, our goal should be the same: to make Michigan a better Michigan, or make Texas a better Texas, or California a better California. And you have to work with one another in order to make that happen.
Exactly.
And so I appreciate the way you described that effort.
Yeah, we are, again, one nation, one team. Now, we might have our differences on the football field or the basketball court,
right.
but that's sports.
Right.
But here, when it comes to defending our nation and giving our soldiers, again, salt of the earth, the Marines, their sailors, we want them to have the best tools possible. So if they have to go out and do their job, they can do it well, accomplish their mission, and come home safely.
Right. Yeah, on this program, we've met with a lot of veterans. In fact, we have a great episode that we released on Memorial Day about a veteran that served several tours overseas. And just hearing his journey, he was responsible for IEDs and finding them. And in my conversation with him, he said, "I love my job." And I said, "You love finding IEDs, things that can blow you up?" He did, because he was mission oriented. But I wanted to ask you, being a veteran as well, what did that transition look like for you? Like when you served and you decided to retire out of service, what was that journey like? I know so many of our veterans struggle with finding that next opportunity because they're used to the structure of the military. In fact, some years ago, I was at Langley Air Force Base in Virginia and spoke to E6 and above. So these were officers, not enlisted. And they were terrified about the transition just because it was a different environment. They didn't, the business world seemed uncertain, unstructured. They were making that transition. What did your transition look like?
Well, mine occurred over a dozen years ago.
Okay.
And yes, I was a little nervous, but I had been out in the civilian side, if you will, for some time, because at the time I was serving as a National Guardsman, and prior to that I'd been a reservist, but I did spend 9 years on active duty.
Wow.
And that transition from active duty to the civilian sector was a little daunting.
Yes.
And you have to remember that there are many challenges in the military, and you have to, focus on the mission. And the mission might be finding a new job, finding a new opportunity, finding something that you like, finding something where your skills can be used and you can make a difference. Yeah. And it takes people helping you to do that,
right,
and looking for opportunities. So I've taken it upon myself to, as I know people that are getting ready to go out, I offer them my systems. Look, here's what you can expect on the outside.
Nice.
Here's, what you need to think about. Here's the questions you need to ask, and talk to more than one person. Get a number of different perspectives. get your resume out so that people know that you're looking and the kinds of skills that you have.
Right. One of the biggest surprises, in addition to the collaboration that I mentioned earlier in visiting Michigan is very supportive of our veterans.
They are, yes.
I had a conversation with someone earlier, and in the hotel, I was watching the news, and there were so many commercials for veteran services and veteran support groups and veteran transition groups. I was amazed. Now, I grew up in a large military town in Virginia and then lived in California, which has a large military community. But Michigan seems very supportive and very proud of it.
Oh, absolutely. You know, we're the Midwest. Yeah. And, you know, we, as I keep referring to, we're the salt of the earth. We provide a lot of the servicemen and women who enter our ranks, maybe not as much as the South, but the point is, we're just down-to-earth people who want to do a good job, do good things, and then come back home to our families. And that's one of the reasons why we as Michiganders are very proud to help and support our veterans, because we know their sacrifices. We know what they've done for us.
Right. So what's next for you in your journey? Now, you've created an amazing legacy thus far in all of your service to the community. What's your next legacy?
Well, I'm not sure what that is, but I want to continue to serve as long as I have energy and breath and strength. I want to continue to serve because that's where I get most of my fulfillment. Right. As somebody who's served in the military, somebody who's done my time, what I say, I paid my debt to society serving in the legislature. And so, you know, it's about service. It's not about me. It's not about a particular organization. We just want to help people make our nation stronger, make our state stronger. So wherever that opportunity comes, as long as it's the ability to serve, help others, help veterans, help our country, I'm in.
Yep. I moved to Texas several years ago, again, after living throughout the country. There's a lot
Can I say I feel for you? Just kidding.
And there's a lot of pride in Texas. And what's really neat is to come to Michigan, and you feel a strong pride here as well.
Absolutely.
It is heartwarming to see the pride and to see the focus on industry and helping people to succeed and find their path. And as I mentioned, the veteran support is just incredible. So I commend what you and others have done to lead Michigan forward.
Well, thank you. But I'm only one person. We have a ton of people here who love the military, who love our country, who love our state, and who love veterans. And so I'm just one of many who want to serve and help others. And I'm glad to be a part of that team.
Well, I tell you this, I had someone say this some years ago to your comment of being one of many. I had someone say to me, Ronnie, how do you land an airplane, at a airport, wherever you are? How do you land an airplane? And they said, one at a time. So you can have all of these airplanes in the air, all of these legislators and community leaders, but it takes each person making their contribution to build this system that makes communities effective. So again, I honor and appreciate all that you've done. I've heard from other legislators that you've helped to mentor them. So not only are you helping to lead communities, but you're leading other leaders, and they're joining to make an effective impact on the people they serve as well.
Well, thank you. But I guess the older you get, the more opportunity you have to help others who are coming up through the ranks and stuff like that. So at some point, they will be the elder statesman or whatever the case might be. But to your earlier analogy about teamwork, I used to describe voting to people in this way. If you have a brick house and every brick represents a vote, then whenever you take one of those bricks out and you don't vote, it makes the house weaker. And if you take out a significant amount of them, ultimately that house will collapse. And the same thing with teamwork here and helping our nation and state. It's all of us putting that effort together that makes it for a strong house.
Yes. Well, I can tell everyone, if anyone's looking from across the country, come check out Michigan.
Absolutely.
And learn what they're doing here, because I think it could be a model for the rest of the country.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Valde Garcia, thank you for joining us on the I Build America program.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Now, I Build America, we focus on workforce solutions, successes, opportunities. How can we continue to build a strong economy, a strong workforce, help our companies to grow and expand, and build success for individuals and their families? So I appreciate you joining us on the I Build America podcast.
Thank you for listening to the I Build America podcast. Please subscribe, share, and comment, and be sure to join us next time for more insights and inspiring conversations on building a powerful American workforce. I Build America, building workforce success one podcast at a time.
I build America.